moving into our science lesson. So I'm glad that you're all sitting and focused and ready to learn. All right, first thing I need you to do, I need you to put your hands up in the air. Put your hands down if you live outside. Oh, right. Where do you guys live? Do you guys live in a home? Put your hands down. Good, okay. Who lives in an apartment? Or with someone that they love, right? All right, we're good. So we make sure that we don't live outside. Well, who does live outside? Do you guys know what creatures live outside? Ellie, yes.
Animals.
Animals? Hewitt, what type of animals live outside?
Lions.
Lions. Do we have lions around here, Claire?
No.
No, we don't. What's some animal that we have around here? Yes, Elle.
Birds.
We have birds that live around here. How about you, Hewitt?
Ants.
We have ants. Yeah, even ants live around here. Do you guys know what the name for their types of homes are called? Yes, Ellie.
A habitat.
It is a habitat, that's right. And today we're gonna go over a whole bunch of different activities and little tips and tricks that you're gonna learn more about where all these different animals live, okay? So what do we know that our animals need to survive? What do they need? Not just their home. Yes, Claire?
Food and water.
They need food and water. Do you guys know that their habitat gives that to them? Yeah? Just like we go to the grocery store and get food, how do animals get their food? Yes, Ellie?
Sometimes they can hunt down for prey, or they can eat insects.
Yep,
And little birds or seeds.
They can do some hunting, and their habitat helps them to hunt the different animals there. So the first thing that we're going to do with our lesson today is I'm going to read you a book that I got from our school library. This book is called 50 Reasons to Love Animals, and I wanted to share this book with you today because it doesn't just go over one habitat. Do you guys know how many habitats there might be for the animals? Hewitt, do you know one that you can name? Well, 50, this is 50 fun reasons, but I'm not sure there's quite 50 habitats on our whole planet. Yes, Ellie?
There's like forests and wetlands.
Okay.
And plains.
Very good. Claire, do you have another one? No, not right now. That's okay. Hewitt, you got one for me?
15.
Maybe 15. Let's see. Let me open the book and read you this first page in here. It says that animals are amazing. In this book, you can meet some of the incredible animals on the planet Earth today, from the blue whales to the ancient sea turtles, giant elephants to the grizzly bears, and bold lions to colonies of penguins. We're going to explore their homes, we're going to meet their neighbors, and we're going to discover how they have adapted to life on Earth by reading this book. And I wanted to really go over this because on our first page, we've got some habitats. We've got the dry savanna, the colorful coral reef under your oceans. We've got the icy Arctic poles, okay? Forest, I remember Hewitt mentioned, or Ellie mentioned forest, right? We got a tropical forest too. There's different kinds of forests.
It's called a rainforest.
Mm-hmm. So today, our first one that we're going to dive into, we're going to go to the dry savanna. This rich, grassy habitat is found near the equator, mostly in Africa. In the rainy season, giraffes, elephants, hippos, lions, wildebeest, and antelopes wander over the land, visiting busy water holes to drink. But many of these animals are threatened by hunting or habitat loss. Let's take a look at what the dry savanna looks like. Okay, looks a little dry, a little green, and some water. Fun fact in here, one of our 50 fun facts, baby elephants take a year to figure out how to eat and drink with their strange long noses. Do you guys know that? Neither did Mrs. Betty. At night, as dusk falls, predators like lions shake off their sleep and come out of the shadows to hunt. The roar of these magnificent beasts can be heard for miles, but they are now extinct in many countries. The number of lions has almost halved in the last 20 years as people and their livestock have spread into the wild lands.
Oh no.
That's all. This is another animal that lives in the dry savanna. Lions have special glow-in-the-dark orange eyes that help them to spot prey in the dim light. In the day, elephants doze in the shade or use their tusks to strip bark to eat. Once there were 10 million African elephants. Today, because of people using their land and poaching hunters, their ivory tusks there are fewer than 415,000 left. They are sharing the savanna with ostriches and antelopes who are always ready to run their lives to escape their predators. Yes, Hewitt?
Is the ground a habitat?
The ground is part of their habitat, so this has got, there's got their grass, but their grass is more of like a yellow grass than the grass that we see out here, okay? And do they have a lot of trees?
No.
You see? They're kind of spread out in lower bushes.
Oh, it's a very dry place.
It seems a little drier, right? Let's move on. We're going to talk about the colorful coral reef. Coral reefs are made up of tiny living pulpas which build hard tubes to protect their soft bodies. The reefs also provide food and shelter for more than a quarter of all plants and animals in the ocean. These gardens of the sea are home to an amazing variety of species. But they are being damaged by climate changes. We've got some turtles, some corals, some sponges, green sea turtles, seahorses, and a lobster on this page. What do you think? Wow, I saw your eyes light up, huh?
Wow.
Keep thinking about all these different habitats as we go on, okay? They're gonna come back around in a little while. This page says that the spiny lobsters do the conga in lines at 50 at a time as they migrate across the sea floor. They do a little shuffle. What do you think? Very good. Ooh, on this page, the sea turtles have been swimming in our oceans for 100 million years. Some species visit the coral reefs to feed as they travel thousands of miles back to the place where they were born to lay their eggs. But today, they swim in polluted water, in polluted seas, getting tangled in fishing nets, and feed in the reefs damaging by the climate change. All species of sea turtles are now in danger. There's a bunch of sea turtles on this page with this little sandy area.
Oh no.
Yes, Hewitt.
I think the people who are trying to capture the sea turtles are mean to the sea turtles.
I would say that that's not a good thing, but do you see these little boys and girls in this page? Can you see them? I know it's a little farther back and I'd like to zoom it in, but do you see what they're collecting in their bag? Are they collecting garbage from the beach?
Yeah.
They're doing something kind to help the sea turtles as they grow.
Yay.
There's lots of different kinds of fish on this page. Lots of different sea turtles. I didn't know there were so many names for a sea turtle. From slow-moving starfish and giant snails to graceful swimmers like the sea turtles, dolphins, and sharks, many species are dependent on the sunlight waters of the coral reef. But as the global warming increases the temperatures of the ocean, coral reefs bleach and die. More than a quarter of the coral reefs have disappeared in the last 30 years, threatening the survivals of the millions of animals. This page just shows us some more animals that are living under the sea. The dolphin was mentioned. Dolphins find their food using sound waves which bounce back from schools of fish. So they'll send out a sound wave and that's how they find their food. Yes, Hewitt?
Why are the animals there happy?
That's a good question. I guess our illustrator just wanted to make them show a little more happier in this book. We know that there is stuff that we can do to help them, but they're still okay in this book. They're just in our book. Let's move on to the icy poles. For millions of years, bright white ice caps on the north and south poles have reflected sunlight, helping to keep the planet cool. But today, the Earth is getting hotter and the ice is melting fast. So many places where the animals live are changing too. In the Arctic, polar bears are struggling to find some ice strong enough for them to rest and fish. So now, we've moved to the Arctic. What color is the Arctic, guys? Yes, you're.
Like a whitish blue color?
A whitish blue color. Okay, keep that in your thoughts for later, okay? Thanks. Did you know that the polar bear's skin is all black under his shaggy white fur?
What?
That's a confused look, right? Sea eels use their whiskers to help them hunt underwater when they cannot smell. Interesting. Emperor penguins live in Antarctica, which has the strongest winds It is the driest desert and the lowest temperatures on the planet. But here are they're disappearing fast. If this continues, some scientists believe that half of all the emperor penguins could disappear in the next 50 years. Take a look at their habitat.
Oh no!
It is very windy, and what is all this white stuff flying around?
Snow.
Thanks to it, Ellie.
Snow.
It is snow. It is snow. Blue whales, they migrate from the poles to tropical waters where they mate, and months later they give birth to the biggest babies in the world. Like other great whales, they are astonishing large mammals. They almost die out during the 20th century because of humans hunting it for its meat, oil, and bones, but many whales are still in danger today. So here's one that moves his habitat. Do you see this big whale? He says that he's in part of the Arctic, but he moves to tropical waters. Yes, Hewitt, thanks for patiently reading. Migrate means that they move from place to place. Okay? Let's see. Let's move on to another place. This is the evergreen forests. Forests are the lungs of our planet, the home to most of the animals and plants on the land. Some evergreen forests are peaceful, but others are noisy with machines cutting down trees for timber and paper for all the people all over the world. Let's take a look at this. This looks a lot different from the white pages we were seeing.
Oh yeah.
White and snowy pages. Now we've got green. And are there lots of trees close together on this page?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, lots of trees, lots of trees. This bear, he's dancing and scratching against the trees. Man, these animals like to move. The lobsters did the conga, the bears are dancing. They scratch against the trees to leave a scent for other bears to find. Do you think you know why they would do something like that? Why?
So that more of the bears could live.
More of the bears could live. Do you think they would like to keep that tree all for themselves? If it's a good tree, a good scratchy tree? Maybe. Let's think. The bamboo forests that grow fast are providing food for animals like panda bears. So that's a different kind of forest. They rely on that food to survive. But people are dividing up the forest with roads, which makes it harder for the pandas to meet and mate. More bamboo is also being cut down for paper, furniture, and farms, and human population. All right, this is a different kind of forest.
Very different.
Very different kind of forest. Grizzly bears like to live in old forests, close to rivers and streams. But this habitat is under threat as people cut down trees to build roads in their search for oil and gas. Unfortunately, this can pollute in the cool mountain rivers and threaten the fresh water as well as the animals. New roads are dangerous to the grizzly bears too, which today will occupy only a tiny bit of land of the room that they actually use. So here's some more animals in their forest habitat. Yes, Hewitt?
I didn't know that you cut it down tree to make road.
Well, to make way for roads, yes. All right, we're moving on to another. What do you think now? What habitat do you think we're coming up on now? Are you gonna take a guess, Ellie?
A rainforest?
Let's see. Hold on. We're getting closer. The open ocean is what's next.
Ooh.
The ocean covers most of our great blue planet. It's full of life and even deep seabeds. There are bizarre creatures in unexplored habitats, and we rely on the salty water, and they rely on the salty water for food. But all kinds of marine life, from the sunlit surface right down to the seabed, they can get tangled in fishing nets and ships in the open seas. This is part of our open ocean. Different color here. What color, Claire?
I kind of like blue.
Mostly like a blue color. This octopus on our page is super smart. They solve problems and use tiny tools, and they're bored and then they play. Even the bigger animals on Earth, like the blue whale, is difficult to find in the wide open sea, right?
Ooh.
But we've got some more animals on the page with our
There's the
habitat.
octopus.
Oh, he's hiding right down here.
Oh.
Thanks for a good question. Whew. Penguins, seals, and whales feast in the water of the Southern Ocean. Many animals here eat krill, and This tiny pink creature is becoming harder to find. Young krill rely on the sea ice water for shelter and food. And some lose the sea ice during the climate change, and they can lose a low number of krill. Take a look, we've got our ocean and a little bit of that Arctic too, right? The penguins there. Only a tiny part of the ocean is protected. Around the world, oceans are polluted and they are awash with plastic and overfished. Scientists estimate that pollution of the ocean animals is almost half over the last 40 years. But they're working together, countries are working together to create more protected areas. Yeah, take a look, our oceans are gonna be protected. Okay? We've got whales and pelicans and dolphins. And I even see the little seal peeking out over here. He's made it there. Let's keep going. I think we're almost done. I think we're coming up on that tropical rainforest, Ellie. Tropical forests are warm, tangled jungles home to half of the species on Earth. From parrots squawking in the canopy to the monkeys swinging from branches to branches. The elephants are ambling and their army of ants are scurrying across the forest floor. Rainforests are exploding with life. One of the biggest threats to this habitat is illegal logging or cutting down the trees there, which is destroying their place. So on this page, we're going to see our tropical forest with some elephants and an orangutan and a tiger over here. Local people, as well as the wildlife, are depending on the forest homes to live for food. Okay? So sun bears and orangutans are having smaller areas to live in our tropical environment. This page has more animals in our tropical environment. The elephants roam in West Africa, and they're sharing the space with people and sometimes even gorillas. But sometimes deadly diseases are spreading there too, so we're going to have to make sure that we keep all of these animals safe. Gorillas, and some, look at these colorful plants there are in the tropical. All right, guys, that concludes our book about a few habitats. Yes, Ellie?
I know a tropical rainforest. It's called the Amazon.
That's right, honey. Yes. Good job. All right. Now that I've finished my book, I have a small video for you guys to watch. You guys, are you okay up there? Should we move a little closer here to get going? Or I think you can see it. This is just a small video. It's just going to help us go over those habitats and get your minds working. You ready? Okay.
Is way too cute. Take off the sunglasses and the swim trunks. There. He's hot, he's hungry, he's downright miserable. Why is he such a grumpy bear? Well, it's because he's not where he belongs. There aren't any tasty seals to eat, no cold water to enjoy, and no snow to sleep in. The desert isn't his habitat. You know that a habitat is the area where something lives. But from polar bears to porcupines, animals don't just need a place to live. They also rely on the other living and non-living things around them to survive. And life looks different in different places around the world. So, what makes a habitat a home? Well, what do you need? I need sandwiches, pancakes, carrots, maybe some nice peaches, so I need food. And I need water. I need a place to live. And I need a place to film crash course videos. You could say this is my habitat. Animals need these things too. Food, water, shelter, and space to live. For animals, their food comes from their neighbors, the other living things in their habitat. You know that plants and animals all fall somewhere along the food chain, which is a model we use to describe the flow of energy between living things. But the real world is made up of lots and lots of food chains, and those chains can get kind of messy. I mean, look at our polar bear. Sure, his favorite food is seal, but in a pinch, he'll eat walrus, dead whales, birds' eggs, and if he has absolutely no other choice, plants. The polar bear is at the top of multiple food chains, and that's not unusual. Most animals don't just eat one thing, and neither do I. I'm at the top of the pancake food chain and the carrot food chain. It just so happens I prefer pancakes. So you can see how food chains are actually tangled systems that include every plant and animal in a habitat. And as you might guess, all food webs are different. Let's compare two different habitats to see how the food webs play out. First, we'll go back to our old stomping ground, the forest. Let's begin with, you know this, people, the plants. Trees, grass, and other plants that change energy from the sun into sugar. But then you have some animals that eat other animals. This is where things get a little more complicated. Today an owl makes a mouse his lunch, but tomorrow it may be a rabbit. Today a snake snacks on a squirrel, but a few days later our owl friend might make a meal of another meat eater, like the snake. Finally, the decomposers, insects, fungi, and bacteria are breaking down whatever's left over, from uneaten rotten fruit to leftover animal carcasses. As they break down matter, they provide more nutrients for the plants. It's a bit of a different story up in the Arctic. I mean, look at all that ice. I know what you're thinking. Where are the plants? How do we have a food web without plants? Zoom in on the seawater. Zoom way in. Further, further, stop. Can you see those tiny plants? They're called phytoplankton, and just like plants on land, they convert energy from the sun. Really small creatures called zooplankton eat the phytoplankton, and all kinds of small fish dine on the zooplankton. Larger fish eat the smaller fish. There are big marine mammals too. Beluga whales eat fish, while humpback whales eat the tiny plankton and krill. And what else eats fish? Seals. That's our polar bear's favorite food, but up here you can't afford to be picky, so we may have to nibble on some whale carcass if necessary. As for decomposers, there aren't many bugs or earthworms in this cold climate. There are bacteria, but since it's so cold, the decomposers break down matter much more slowly than in the forests. So you can see, food webs and the ecosystems that support them look different in different parts of the world, depending on the habitat conditions. Flat or mountainous land, more or less water, these seemingly small changes in habitats affect what kind of plants and animals live there. Up in the Arctic, a polar bear has the right conditions to keep him happy. First, he fits into his food web perfectly. The food that's available to him has enough fat and protein to keep his energy up. Second, he fits into his habitat perfectly. He has the body adaptations to not just survive, but feel really comfortable in the super cold. A polar bear isn't built to survive in the desert or the forest. So let's put our poor polar bear back where he belongs. I was starting to feel bad for the guy.
Right. That just went over one piece, but again, what is a habitat? What does the animal need in their habitat to survive? Ellie, what's one thing? Do you have one thing?
It needs the proper types of food, and it needs to fit in with the habitat environment.
Exactly. So it's not just going to be just that animal. It's going to have other neighboring animals that interact with it too, that live there. Yes, you.
Food, water, shelter.
Yes, each one is going to need a different space. And so I've got a few different station activities for us to learn more about the habitats that all these animals live in. And we have lots of animals. We saw lots of colorful animals in our book. And our video showed us that a polar bear needs certain areas and items in his area that are going to help him survive the best that he can. Does he belong in the desert where it's hot and dry?
No.
No, he needs to be where it's nice and cool. Okay, so Oliver, you and your group, you are going to go to our first station. We're going to have a few different stations scattered across the classroom, okay? And then we're going to have one station that is up here working with Mrs. Betty. So Oliver, your group is going to start with our Habitat Flipbook. And I'm just going to go over all these so that if you guys have questions when I'm working with the group, you'll be able to know a little bit more about each of your stations.
I don't know. I'm still going on the phone.
Okay.
You're at 25 minutes.
Thanks. All right, so our first station is going to be our Habitat Flipbook. You guys can work at this at the station, but you have to have your own crayon box. Or if you would rather work alone, you can take your book back to your station. Your Habitat Flipbook, we're going to talk about your voice level volume. You get to be a level 0 or 1. You need some crayons, and your movement, you guys are staying at the station, or you're back at your desk. Our book is about, it says, what's a habitat? What's this line for down here, you guys? What do you think, Hewitt?
Where you write your name.
Write your name. You're going to get to take these books home, and inside you're going to have lots of pictures to color about our planet and all different habitats that we've seen a little bit about today. That's going to be station number 1. Rose, your group is going to go to our station number 2. This is our habitat flip cards. You guys are going to work as a team, and each friend can have a card of their own. Each card is going to have a different habitat on. This one's a little tiny pond. Do you see that? And 3 animals underneath. You're going to be able to get a clothespin, and you're going to find the animal that goes with each habitat, okay? Claire, what one do you think? Do you think the horse, the frog, or this big whale lives at this little tiny pond?
The frog.
You think the frog? All right, then you'll get your pinchers out and pinch that frog, okay? Once you guys get through this step, you guys can work together or alone. You can choose your voice level. What do you think your voice level can be for this station? Yes, Ellie?
0 or 1.
Maybe a 1 if I want you guys to work in partners, right? And that's okay if you want to work alone too, but we got to communicate with our friends. And so all your supplies will be there. Your cards will be there. Your paper clips or clothespins will be there. And again, there's lots of different habitats in here. Should we do one more? Should we do one more together? Let's use this one. Who can tell me what habitat this is? What habitat do you see, Hewitt?
I think that's for the eel.
You think it's for the eel. Claire, what kind of habitat is it? Do you know
It's
the name?
like the ocean.
It's at the ocean habitat. And Hewitt, you think the eel? Ellie, do you agree? All right, let's give that guy a clip. There he goes. That's where he belongs. Okay? That one's pretty good. It's self-easy. All right, Rose, that'll be your station with your group. And our last station is going to be over. Actually, it's not even going to be over anywhere. It's going to be all around the room. We're going to do a room, write the room. So for this write the room, you guys are going to look in our bins. We're going to have our write the room sheet. Oh, there's that line at the top. What's that for?
Name.
Name on your paper.
Person.
Good job, guys. And this is going to have a few of our different habitats. We're having a small picture and a space to write. You're going to practice writing and seeing the different names for each habitat. Let's just go through my copies here. These are what you're looking for. What habitat is this?
Arctic.
Arctic. How about this one?
Desert.
The desert.
Prairie.
Prairie. Okay, we've seen a couple of those in our North Dakota state, right? So I had to include that one.
Forest.
The forest.
Ocean.
The ocean.
Savannah.
Savannah. Those are where the elephants live, right? We'll get to, you'll be able to see animals, you'll be able to see habitats. And you write the room, you're going to need this special sheet of paper that's in our look and find drawer. Okay, you're gonna need your clipboard and a pencil. You're gonna be walking around the room. So this station is gonna have movement. We're gonna be walking around the room. Are we using running feet in the classroom?
No.
No, we're using our walking feet. Very good. Do you guys, what do you think your voice level is for this station? Hewitt says a 0, 0 or 1. Good job, Claire. All right, and that is for our write the room station. We'll have that set. And then, as you are out working in your stations, I'm gonna have one group come up and be at the teacher table where we're going to work on our habitat dioramas. Have you guys heard of the word diorama before?
Like a model?
A diorama is a model. Good job, Hewitt. I'm glad your brain was thinking. We had a connection there. So for this, we're going to, each group will get a chance, we'll rotate. Each group will get a chance to come up to the teacher table, and Mrs. Betty has some animals from different habitats. We're going to talk about the habitat you need, maybe what color that habitat mostly is, and you're going to get your box, and we're going to be able to put a few items in, and then you're going to be able to work with other supplies out at your table to make the habitat a little bit nicer. Would you guys like to see an example of a diorama?
Yes.
Would that be a good idea? Yeah. Good job, Mrs. Betty. I have got mine hiding right behind my library here with some extra books. But this is not just a box. It is my diorama now.
Ooh.
Okay? I have some ocean. That's all the blue. And I've even got some extra streamers that I made as little waves. And I put some rocks in my ocean. And do you guys remember what this is called?
Coral.
Coral. That's part of the coral reef, right? There's coral that lives in the ocean, and you can fill this with other animals that you draw, but you're only going to get one animal from Mrs. Betty to be your main diorama feature. What animal do you think Mrs. Betty picked? I've got sand over here too, guys. What animal do you think I picked for my diorama? Ellie?
Turtle.
A turtle. Hewitt, do you have any guesses?
Whale.
A whale. Those are both good guesses. Mrs. Betty picked
A
a sea turtle. So he can go from the sand, right? And go into the ocean if he wants. But you're all gonna make one of these and we're gonna have a talk up here with your habitat as you want to create it. So we'll have ideas to talk about when you're up here at the teacher table, okay? You're each gonna get one of your special tickets. You're gonna work on, while I'm working with one friend and helping them fill out the bottom, you guys are gonna come up here and use my highlighters. We're gonna pick one of my colored highlighters and you're gonna find some habitats from the top picture. And then we'll wait our turn and we'll all get a chance to pick out an animal, okay? Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
All right. Oliver, you and your group 1 are going to find the habitat station on that side of the room. And Rose and your group, you are going to find our clip cards over on this side of the room. Okay. And again, my group 3, you guys are going to find our Write the Room pages in our back colorful rainbow drawer with the spectacles on it, those eyeglasses. We're going to be on a search for all those habitat names. And then I would like to have, can I have my 4th group, Ellie, Hewitt, and Claire, can you guys come up to the teacher table? And we're going to start working on our dioramas together. Okay. All right. And just like I've talked about, okay, make sure everybody's getting set on their stations. You guys, can you two, okay, Claire and Ellie, I'm going to give you your choice. Just start on this top paper, okay? Mrs. Betty's going to draw a line here. Do you go below this line? No, that's the part you have to do with Mrs. Betty. Here, you girls pick out a color and circle just, oh, I forgot the most important thing. Name on your paper.
First thing.
First thing. Okay, you two find all my habitats on those pictures, and then I have some books that you can look at and read, okay? That be all right, girls? Okay, I'm gonna talk with Hewitt first and fill out his bottom portion, and then I'll get to you two and we'll get your boxes and your animals too, okay? So you girls are at a whisper. Okay. Alrighty, Hewitt. First thing I need you to think about is all the different habitats that we talked about today. We have a desert that's mostly dry, right? We have ocean, we have Arctic.
I think I'm going to wild.
You think you want to do a wild animal? What animal do you want to pick? And let's talk about his habitat, okay?
I think I'm going to go with the camel.
Think you want to go with the camel? That's a good idea, okay? What habitat do you think he lives in?
I think he lives
Shake it like
in the desert.
you think he lives in the desert? What color is our desert floor?
Usually the desert is like yellow.
Yellow. Well, how about a light brown for some sand? Would that work? So this is actually going to be your box, okay? And you can go back when you are all done with me. When you're all done here, you're going to take your box and you're going to glue in your sand, okay? We're going to glue in our sand and make a habitat for your camel. What other things does a desert need?
A desert needs cactuses.
Cactuses, okay. How about a piece of, what color paper for a cactus?
Green.
Very good. Look at her. Can you grab a sheet of green paper there?
I think I'm supposed to cut this out.
Okay, you can take that back to your table and put it over there. What else does a desert have? We talked about sand.
Rock.
Rocks. What kind of, do they have like hump? Not just rocks, but what kind of hills are the hills about? Maybe some, what if I have this yellow, huh? What if I help you make sand in here? Would that be a good idea? Should we take some of the yellow to make some sand? Okay. And what's a an important feature of your habitat here, buddy?
It needs to be hot.
It needs to be hot, right? And what else about what did we say about our ground, huh? Is it hot and
Dry.
dry? Very good. All right. Okay, this is going to be your box and your camel. Let's put this right over here for you. Okay. Nice mistake. Thanks for helping Mrs. Betty and grabbing that book for me. Thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate your help. Okay. I'm going to take the colors away from the girls and maybe let one of them look at a book while I help the other one with their habitat. I'm going to give you my colors, and I need you, Hewitt, to put your name on your paper and then find me the habitats here. Can you do that? Thanks, buddy. Right here. Right here. There you go. All right.
Hi,
We'll
Miss
get to
Betty.
you two next, okay? All right. Claire, would you like to pick out one of these two books to read?